This is a brief walkthrough my process of an art form called Ebru, commonly known as water marbling art. This is only a brief walkthrough and not a complete guide. Basically, that is me telling you why I will not be explaining every little step on and once in a while off camera. If you have any questions or would like some source material, send me a message and I'll be more than happy to help. Carrageenan. This is a natural food product made out of seaweed that is found in a lot of foods you've probably already been eating, so it's completely safe for your blender. It's often in things like gelatins and yogurts. I use about 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons because I make about a gallon's worth of Carrageenan gel, which is basically the size or water-like stuff that you end up painting on later. This is just plain water that's going in there. You notice it starts to clump around like that and looks quite chunky. Like vomit, really. Hit puree. And let it blend for about 2 minutes until it looks about like this little froth. And just pour it down into a funnel into your gallon. It tends to be really thick, so you might want to lift up the funnel so that it can fall down into the gallon, or else it might take quite a while. Or lightning fast like mine did just now. Now pour a little water in there to top off the gallon. I guess this is where I should have made my water sound effects. But I made my choice, and I'm good with it. Now after this, I tend to let it sit in my refrigerator for overnight, let the bubbles settle. It makes it a lot easier to deal with. Okay, now we'll be preparing the paper, which I use a latex blend because it keeps from tearing the paper when you put it into such things as water or on top of Carrageenan, which, as you can probably well guess, is pretty useful. It's also pretty nice paper. Strong like bull. Are there any Russians watching? I hope not. Not that I have anything against Russians. I just didn't want them to hear my strong like bull comment. Could cause an international incident. Alright, so now I'm preparing the alum, which is aluminum sulfate. It's also a food grade product, often found in things like pickling agents. I use about 2 teaspoons of that. And then you'll want to stir it until it has 0 grain left in it. You're always going to see a little bit down at the bottom there, as you can see, because being natural alum, it's going to have specks of dirt or whatever like that, which are not going to dissolve, obviously. So just dissolve all the white stuff that's in there, and you'll be good. Now to apply the alum to the paper, you only need to do it to the one side of the paper. You'll want to use a good sponge. I use a painting sponge myself. And you'll want to do long, even strokes over the entirety of the paper so that you're not missing any spots. A lot of people like to do a crosshatch pattern. It just makes it easier to avoid skipping dry spots. I'm always highly paranoid that I'm gonna miss a spot. So something you don't see because I cut it off camera because I do it quite a bit is stop applying the Illum and then check in the light of every direction to make sure I don't have any dry spots. I'm sure I'm being way overly cautious, but better safe than sorry. Here's a lesson I learned from Mr. Miyagi. Paint the fence, Daniel-san. Huh. My Mr. Miyagi seems to sound a lot like Splinter. I have always liked Cowabunga! Okay, now that we let our paper dry overnight, keeping it nice and flat, I typically keep mine between a couple pieces of plastic. Now we've got our marbling bin and trying to spread evenly the Carrageenan throughout. Da, 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 da. Ba, da, 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 ba, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Ba, ba, da. Ba, 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 ba. Da, 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 ba, 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 ba. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Alright, now what I'm doing is I rolled up a piece of newspaper to be exactly the size of my marbling bin. And I'm skimming the top just in case there are any bubbles and in case any kind of a skim has formed on top, which will crack and ruin your painting. And then I'm throwing it away because you need to know that. Okay, here I'm going to be mixing all of my paints, which I mix each paint about 2 minutes each. So I'm going to cut past that because you don't need to see that. Plus I got pretty distracted because there was a Doctor Who episode off in the background. But additionally, I'm sure that you didn't need to see like 6 to 8 minutes of me stirring. Fun, fun, fun. Alright, now I'm cleaning out my my brush for dust because I don't want to spray any kind of debris onto my painting. Dip, swirl, tap, tap, tap. Crunchy, crunchy, crunchy. Now I tap the brush with my finger. You don't want to tap your finger with the brush. It actually will make quite a different pattern, and it'll make a lot bigger of a mess. You can see as soon as those specks hit the Carrageenan, they start to spread almost immediately. In fact, definitely immediately. They start to form a very unique pattern. As you can see, it's a like kind of marble-esque. Marble-esque word? Well, it is now. It's also a little cloud-like in the background, which is where the word Ebru comes from. It's the Arabic word for cloudy. These plastic brushes don't hold a lot of paint, so you see me dipping it for a while because I want to try to get it to hold as much as possible. Even though I'm not going to use very much of it, very little compared to the black that I just used. That will start to spread, and it won't mix with the other colors as something you'll notice with water marbling art. Each color pretty much minds its own business, or is a little pushy towards the other colors. As you see, it just starts to spread and just like condense those black spots. And so this is what my end product ended up being, and several other projects. This one was my favorite.